I have so many conversations with myself that I don't usually feel confident having in social setups. But I am pretty sure I am not alone. Join me on this podcast as I have these conversations unapologetically loud. My name is June Robinson, and welcome to another episode of Cut the Monologue. Hi, how are you? Welcome to another episode. Thank you so much for clicking on the listen button and for being here. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much. If you're someone who is new, thank you for joining us on this episode, and I highly encourage you to listen to my other previous episodes. You will for sure love them. So this week's episode, I do not want to necessarily say that it is a new episode per se, because it is looking at an episode that I have already done, but from a different perspectives. So I have already done an episode about societal stereotypes and just how to break free from these stereotypes that have been set by the society. And I talked a lot about stereotypes, what they are, how they come to existence, how we end up falling in the cycle of these stereotypes. What are some of the agents that perpetuate the existence of these stereotypes. And today, I want us to look at religion. Yes, I want us to look at religion and how religion plays a role in perpetuating societal stereotypes. So even before I get deep into this, I know for a fact that, some of you are like clutching, in the air. They're like, oh my God, is she going to? Yes. Religion is often a topic that people are afraid of showing it in its negative light, or people are afraid of talking about the negativity that is at times carried with religion. But we are not an audience, or we are not a podcast that is afraid of talking about that. We are a podcast that talks about these uncomfortable truths that a majority of people run away from. And we are going to talk about how religion plays a role in perpetuating societal stereotypes. So, getting right into it, religion has been a significant influence on societal norms and values throughout history, since time and time ago. If you try to ask yourself, when did religion, it has always been in existence, okay? And while many religious teachings promote positive values such as compassion and empathy and community, they can also inadvertently contribute to the perpetuation of societal stereotypes. These stereotypes, they often arise from interpretations or misinterpretations of religious texts, cultural practices, and historical contexts. So this is something that we need to understand. At times, whenever religion is perpetuating the existence of a stereotype, they misinterpret a religious context in order for the religious context to either fit into their narrative or to fit a narrative that already exists in society. And I tend to think that a lot of religious leaders tend to do this because of the popularity that is likely to be gained from this. Okay? It is crucial to note that the impact of religion on social stereotypes, it varies across different faiths, it varies across different denominations, and it also varies across different individual interpretation. And in this discussion, we are going to explore how religion can play a role in perpetuating societal stereotypes. And we're also going to look at strategies on how to break free from such pressures. So one, we're going to look at textual interpretations. This is in the scenario where the religious leaders, how they interpret the text from their own point of understanding to the point where the congregation understands this text is misinterpreted in a way that these interpretations can shape societal attitudes. Okay? In most cases, selective readings or misinterpretations of sacred text may lead to the reinforcement of gender roles, racial hierarchies, or other forms of social discrimination. Selective reading in this case is an instance where, because we know that the Bible is like a collection of stories, So what happens when you read a story halfway? Like you read a story, maybe the story begins from page 1 and it's running all the way to page 300. What happens when you read from page 250? You don't get how the story began, okay? And therefore, you're building your understanding based on this page 250 that you found. So that is selective readings, okay? Misinterpretation of sacred text is in an instance where they take a clearly and well-written Bible verse and they misinterpret it to the congregation in order for it to suit their narrative. A very big and common example of this is the verse that states, I don't remember, I don't remember the book, I don't remember the chapter. Actually, let me do a quick Google search so that I read it to you. Yes, I have got it. It is Matthew chapter 19, verse 4 to 6, and it says, "Haven't you read," he replied, "that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female, and said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined, let no one separate." I've looked for the simplest English that is there. A majority of the time, this verse, we usually just hear what God has put together, let no man put asunder, or let no man lay asunder. So this Bible verse has been used against couples who want to leave their union, especially in instances where abuse exists in the relationship, and this abuse could occur to either the man or the woman. But then this Bible verse has been used to trap the couples in this union, because whatever God put together, no man, in this case a judge, is supposed to separate. And because you are a believer, you have been brought up to believe that you're not supposed to question religion. You're not supposed to question whatever religion is said unto you. A lot of people, they end up staying in these very unhealthy unions. So that is just one of those. So this perpetuates the societal stereotype of let your marriage be behind closed doors. You're not able to talk about the abuse that you're going through. It continues to make men not feel comfortable to talk about abuse if there is any that they are going through. It continues to make women feel like they have to constantly protect their abusive partner and let the world see their abusive partner as this hero while they continue to suffer in silence. Cultural traditions. So religious practices are closely tied to cultural traditions, and these traditions can sometimes embed and perpetuate societal stereotypes. For example, certain rituals or customs may favor specific gender roles, leading to the marginalization of certain groups within the community. So one common factor that came across when I was researching for this topic of discussion was just how it continues to thrive, how religion continues to thrive by perpetuating these stereotypes, especially those that cut across gender roles, and how it continues to thrive. It continues to thrive by making one gender feel like a minority against another gender, feel like they don't have a voice against another gender, and it continues to make the other gender feel like they are the rulers, like they are the days, for lack of a better English word. So that is something that came across. And as we all know, we as a society, we have come a long way to making sure that each and every member of the society has an opportunity to voice out their opinions. Each and every member of the community has an opinion, and their opinion matters. So this is just another example of how religious plays a role in perpetuating this stereotype that is still an ongoing fight and has been an ongoing fight. Religious institutions, they often hold a position of moral authority in society, influencing individuals' beliefs and behaviors. When these institutions, that is, when these religious institutions, they endorse or tolerate discriminatory purposes, It can legitimize social stereotypes, making it challenging for adherents to question or challenge these norms. And I feel like this just goes hand in hand with the two examples that I have given. It makes someone feel like I cannot speak out because the religion or the religious the verses are saying this and this, so I need to stick by it. Okay? So one notable example of religious perpetuation of social stereotypes is perpetuating gender stereotypes, and this is something that I have said. It heavily perpetuates gender stereotypes. Certain biblical passages have been historically interpreted to suggest the subservience of women to men, and it has contributed to the reinforcement of traditional gender roles, limiting roles in leadership and decision making within religious institutions and society at large. So, religion is supposed to be that branch of society or that pillar of society that promotes togetherness, that promotes love, that promotes working in harmony. But you find that this is not the case majority of the time. Majority of the time, it's simply perpetuating societal stereotypes that already exist by misinterpretation of the Bible verse, okay, by cultural traditions and by their moral authority. So how do we break free from these pressures that are brought about by the religious pillar of society? Critical thinking. I always, and this is not even something that I learned from myself, it's something that I learned even growing up, that I was taught growing up. Encourage critical thinking amongst yourself. Within religious communities, it is essential. As an individual, you should be empowered to question and critically analyze the religious teachings that are being given unto you. Whatever this religious teacher is teaching you, you should be able to dissect it and look at it from all the different angles. This ensures a nuanced understanding that goes beyond the superficial interpretations that a majority of them give us just because they're in a hurry and they don't want to do the homework. Interfaith dialogue. Have dialogue. Have friends who exists beyond your religious group. Engaging in these dialogues fosters understanding and it also challenges stereotypes. Because one thing that I know, religiously perpetuated stereotypes are usually different. They're like cultural practices. Whatever, for instance, the Abagusi do, it's not the same with what the Abaluya do culturally. Whatever the people at the coast do is not the same with what the people at the eastern part of Kenya do. And you may find that there are certain things that people at the coast are not allowed to do because of, certain cultural beliefs, etc. But then the people in the eastern part of Kenya, they do it, and there's no, cultural belief that surrounds the act. So when you have this interfaith dialogue, you're able to explore common values and shared principles among different religious traditions. And therefore, as an individual, you're able to gain a broader perspective that goes beyond divisive stereotypes. And these are stereotypes that bring about division instead of togetherness. Reinterpretation of texts. Scholars and religious leaders can play a crucial role in reinterpreting sacred texts to align with modern values and of equality and justice. This process involves acknowledging historical context and adapting religious teachings to promote inclusivity and social harmony. In a scenario where, because we all know change is inevitable, whatever was working 20 years ago will not work now. So how do we suit our teachings to the now? How do we make our people feel loved, feel wanted in the now? It is by looking at ways in which these teachings can serve the now and not the then. Because by you dwelling on the then, it continues to perpetuate this stereotype that people are heavily trying to move away from. Educational initiatives. Incorporating education of tolerance, education of diversity, and education of social justice within religious institutions can help challenge and break free from perpetuated stereotypes. I think the other thing that I will mention again is critical thinking. I heavily encourage critical thinking among you, my listeners. Question everything, dissect every lesson that you have been given, because religion has been used to perpetuate societal stereotypes, and it's a high time we wake up and we demand for more from our religious teachers, from our religious leaders as well. So while religion has the potential to inspire positive values, it also contributes to the perpetuation of societal stereotypes. And breaking free from the religious pressures, it involves critical thinking, dialogue, and reinterpretation of texts, promoting inclusivity and educational initiatives. And this is something that, as a whole, we need to look at, because we need to foster harmony. We need to foster togetherness. We need to foster open-mindedness. We need to foster the now. And one of the things that continues to make societal stereotypes to perpetuate are religious beliefs. They can bring division even among people simply based on tribe. It doesn't have to be gender roles. So take your time today and think about that Bible verse that religious leader used to teach you about something. Did it really make sense, or did it suit the narrative that the religious leader was focusing on for that sermon? That's it for this episode of Cut the Monologue. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms at Cut the Monologue. That is Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And also follow us on all streaming platforms and turn your notifications on to always get notified whenever we drop an episode. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.